Hi everybody, Tabletop Santa here, coming to you from the chilly Midwest of Decatur, Illinois, and I've got some really good friends of mine from Ninth Level Games, Heather and Chris. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are y'all doing?
Hello.
We're doing great.
Nice. You guys look amazing. I miss you.
Miss you too,
Miss
man.
you too.
Not getting around to see people is definitely the hardest part of being a gamer during the
2020,
pandemic.
yeah.
Absolutely. So for everybody that's watching or will be watching this, could you tell us a little bit about Ninth Level Games and like the genesis of the company and what you guys are known for?
Sure. The genesis of the company is always fun to talk about because we've been around for over 20 years. We've always been a small independent company. It used to just be me and Dan Landis, and we started out making role-playing games, and our focus was our very first game. We wrote for some other people, and then our first game that we made ourselves was called Kobolds Ate My Baby. And then in 2013,
Yeah, I was gonna say up till that point there was big periods even where Chris and Dan were barely involved. It was published by somebody else, all the games. Kind of got more involved again approaching the 2010 2011 time frame, and then kind of considered like, I guess we're gonna relaunch and do a new version of Kobolds Ate My Baby,
and we'll see if people are interested.
Is this the direction we're gonna go?
And people were interested.
They were, and it is. So then that happened, and that's when I kind of started getting a lot more involved. And then our other partner, Adriel, myself, and Chris worked on a card game called Schrodinger's Cats, and that's when we started doing board and card games as well as role-playing games. So we've been doing that for about 6 years so far,
right,
as well.
Yeah, and so we have done a mix over the last couple of years, excuse me, of family friendly but definitely gamer card games and board games, and then our other real focus has been on role-playing games and development around what we call the Polymorph System. So
yep.
Which this particular Mazes is one of those games.
Yeah, Mazes won the IDGN award for best rules for 2020. Very satisfying.
Which is helpful because the rules in Mazes is the Polymorph system, which our other titles also use and will continue to use. So that was pretty cool and pretty validating.
The rules are designed to be very approachable and allow for quick, easy gameplay that's focused. It's very narrative heavy, but still has a little bit of that feel of crunch that people are looking for. And so we started out with Mazes, which is a love letter to 1970s Dungeons and Dragons. And then to just show kind of the depth of the system, our follow-up was The Excellence, which is a game about being excellent cartoon princesses in an awesome world. And then our latest game is Business Wizards, where you play wizards in soul-sucking corporate jobs.
I think, and basically what it is the three first titles that we have out kind of show the range of the system, where Mazes is the top of like pretty much everything you could do with it. Excellence is the stripped down, easiest version, and Business Wizards is somewhere in between that.
Okay. So Excellence is currently on Kickstarter, yes?
Yeah, in fact, I mean, the Excellence has been it was nominated for Game of the Year or Product of the Year by the Ennie Awards and Best Family Game. We printed 1,000 copies or so of the game with the assumption that some people were going to be into it, that it was a game for a very specific group, and it exceeded our wildest expectations.
Yeah, we totally went into it thinking like, we'll see how this goes. We don't know, and immediately had to reprint like within the first few months, and then or reprinting again. So not only are we kind of putting this out to the world so people know about the game, but also are doing a game diary, which is going to be a place where you can keep all of your princess information, kind of like a hero book, I guess. And it has extra adventures and extra princess examples and a little bit more to it as well.
And we're doing some other accessories with it. So we've partnered with Level Up Dice, who make those amazing aluminum dice. You see them at all the cons. So there's going to be an aluminum dice set in the colors of the Excellence.
Oh, man.
and a big
Chunky, larger.
yeah.
Right
So like
there.
I always this is my example. So this is a regular 16 millimeter D6,
Okay.
and this is a 28 millimeter D12. So the
doing-
whole set is going to be this giant 28 millimeter.
Well, I think it's 24 millimeter, but pretty close.
20,
It's pretty close.
24 millimeter,
but
this
big,
size.
very large. So it's a
You know.
4 dice set that will be the acrylic that will be that size, as well as a regular size aluminum set. So we've got some options
Okay.
to add to your princess role playing, as well as a really cool aluminum counter that looks like a flower.
Oh, cool.
And a digital set on Roll20. So
Yeah.
we've also partnered with them. Both Mazes and the Excellence have Roll20 editions coming out, so that you'll be able to play the games fully on Roll20. Some really neat stuff.
Yeah.
Some really neat stuff.
So that's exciting. So that's what we've got going on currently.
Mhm.
Then we've got Business Wizards, like Chris was saying,
It just came out.
literally just hit retail.
Just hit
this
store
week.
shelves.
Okay.
So that's going to be a fun one. That's new. I've been finding that a lot of people in the corporate world really enjoy it because it kind of pokes fun at their soul-sucking jobs.
Yeah.
But if you know nothing about it, you can pull from the wizard end. So we've got some friends that never worked a corporate job and maybe don't get some of the jokes about it, but they know about wizards, so they just pull the wizard jokes out, and it makes it a fun experience.
Is it kind of like Gilbert meets?
Yeah, it's Gilbert
Or is it
meets
the-
Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah,
Like so,
or
like
the office.
it's
or something.
Office Space.
Yeah.
Plus, the Wizarding World.
Yeah, but
That's
basically you start out your adventure by making a SWOT analysis, which is your strengths and your weaknesses, your opportunities and your threats. You have a
Familiar
resume.
to any business major.
You have a resume. You have departments. You've got project management and peer reviews. And
There's
all these little things.
here's your list of departments, or you have
it's cute.
you have a big colorful resume with all your information. As you try to delegate things, and
you can work from home, and there's some funny stuff like that. The thing
Yeah.
that's coolest about this, I think, is there's spells that you can do, which are Post-it notes, and you literally write your spell on a Post-it note and kind of slap it on the table, and then it has to happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
you have complete control because
Yeah.
you're casting a spell, and it is super. It's a super satisfying thing. The designers of this game, Nat and Pat, I think that's where they started. They started with this idea of Post-it notes that would be wizard spells.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's great. So that's kind of like sums that game up, but it's also using the Polymorph system. It's very simple to play. If you've never played a role-playing game, it's still very, very simple.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What else we got? So then the other board game side, we showed you, we kind of talked about Schrodinger's Cats, which is definitely our biggest seller because cats.
Okay.
Because cats and people love
Well,
cats.
absolutely.
This is coming to
What do you mean?
what's the
Board Game Arena.
Board Game Arena. You'll be able to play this on Board Game Arena
Online.
very soon. This came out in 2015 and has been
Just kind of like a perennial, like a evergreen product. It just always sells.
Okay.
it's about cats, it's
It's
about
cute.
physics, and it's a good bluffing game. So
Yeah, so that's a good one. It plays 2 to 6 people. It's very simple to pick up. So that's kind of been our big popular one. So
Okay.
this then we have Pavlov's Dogs that came out, just again hit retail this week,
Nice.
and it's a different gameplay, but it's hitting the same idea. So your dogs, your psychologists. So there's like Collie Young and Sigmund Fetch.
Dr. Sigmund Fetch.
And basically, it's a game of classic conditioning. So it's a memory type of game. So basically, there is a little doctor's folder here that holds the rules for the round.
Right.
And round 1, there's 1 rule. Round 2, there's 2 rules, etc., etc. And you have to keep remembering what the rules are. So it's got a little bit of a flux type of thing where it might say blue cards are now double. Then the next round, it says beg cards are worth 3, for example. So it's things you have to keep remembering each round. It gets harder and harder. Yeah.
Sigmund Fetch.
I played this with you all at MagFest this year. Before,
Yeah,
in the before times.
Yeah.
in the before times.
And it was a lot of fun. I didn't do so well because of, my but the younger individuals that were playing were spot on, keeping up with the continuing buildup of rules, which was super fun.
It definitely helps if your brain still has some plasticity.
Right. Mine's becoming smoother and smoother every day.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's one of these things like, the hardest thing you would think for the younger kids is doing the math, but a lot of times they get the math, they just need to count it out a little bit slower.
Right.
So we've definitely had, I think, as young as 6 or 7 playing it,
Okay.
no problem. And it plays 2 to 8 people. So if there's a whole big group of family playing, the littler kids could play in because there's not much to read except for the words like beg and sit and fetch and that kind of thing, and the numbers. So it kind of works out well. And then if you're just a gamer and you want to hang out and, have a drinking kind of game, this is also kind of funny because you're going to test your knowledge and your memory, and you're going to be like, I can't believe I forgot 2 and 2 is 4.
It is a really fun game because it requires your full mind. It's a really good game to play when you're doing things to screw with your mind.
Yeah. So it is funny. I've watched, not drinking, but I've seen many.
When you're drinking the eggnog, yes.
Right.
Yes, the eggnog.
Yes, but we've seen people that are, heavy strategy game designers sit down and say, we're going to do hard mode right off the bat, and then immediately fail, because of a memory thing. So
We're smart people.
So
Famous last words.
Yeah, but it's also simple enough. You could play on a puppy mode, which is only 3 rounds. Dog mode is 5 rounds, and wolf mode, which is the hardest, is 8 rounds. So that would be up to 8 rolls, which is obviously very hard. Very hard. So there's a lot of things there. There's also like a silly deck that's all actions and silly stuff that kids can do. It could be adults too, but I think kids appreciate that.
Kids appreciate.
Yeah, so those are both
doing
kind
things
of
like having to scratch your ear or beg when a number comes up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so it's cute. So that's definitely kind of a good one for children, but also can scale up to an older crowd. So those are our new products.
And those are great for the holiday season, with families potentially still being able to get together in some capacity, right? So they can.
And these all fit in stockings, so.
Right, they're pretty small, and if you have just a family of 4 or 5, you can totally play that. It's totally fine. So
playing a game on Christmas is kind of a O'Neill family tradition.
Right.
After we've been to everyone else's house, we all end up at the last house, tired, and we figure out which of the games that someone has.
Right.
With my mom and her sisters,
or what they got for Christmas that day.
Heather and I tend to strategically buy good games to give to people so that we don't get trapped into playing something bad.
Well, we do, we'll say, okay, for example, last year, perfect, I'm buying just one for his aunt. Because then just one's there, so we can play that.
Hey, we can play just one.
Or Codenames a couple years ago, or Telestrations years before that. We would pick things that we would know would work in that situation, And then, of course, that trickles down, and the rest of the family ends up saying, "Oh, I like that too. I'm going to buy that," etc. It's fun.
So you all do something else that I think is really interesting, and you've talked with me about it before, just in casual conversation, where at some conventions you'll sit there and you'll throw out ideas to the audience, and you'll build is it a zine?
We do a complete role-playing zine. In fact, we're doing one tomorrow night for the Meditopia convention.
Okay.
So
everybody on TikTok, because TikTok is live right now. Everybody on TikTok, Meditopia.
TikTok, you can do it, and if you post it later, they're going to miss it. But basically, it's a free convention. It's called Meditopia Online. And the RPG zine will be hosted by Chris and our other partner, Adriel. And basically, it's going to take the template from these polymorph type books and allow the participants to create what the heck is happening in there and move it into this template.
When we created the Polymorph System, our goal wasn't to make a universal role-playing game. Our goal was to make a system that could be used to make games. And so what we do is we use the principles of the polymorph, and we work, our good friend Graham Gantz calls it a party trick, right? It's like, hey, everybody, let's get some ideas. We do some brainstorming, and then we actually do what we call play storming, which is once we have enough ideas so we kind of understand what's going on, we're explaining how the polymorph system works. They're making decisions, and then what we do is we try to get them playing the game while it's being made, which you can do in role playing because it's in a narrative game like a polymorph game. And while they're doing that, we're assembling their game into its own zine.
Right. So we did it back in February, and we physically sat there with a laptop and a printer, and Chris laid it out. We printed it out physically and gave it to everybody to take home. For this, it will be a PDF that they can then do that at home. Yeah. But it's that kind of vibe is what it is. So you're totally playable, and then those participants get to say that they created this game and they're an author of the game. There you go. It's very fun.
That is cool. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was one of those really like, whoa, that is brilliant. What a great way to interact with your potential customers and also just fans of your products, right? Just
we, in February, we were like, oh, this is great. This is what we're going to do all year. And then it was like, no, just stay home.
Yeah, well, that was part of our plan, was to hit a bunch of game stores and conventions and do this, once, twice a month. But that has not quite worked out. But at least for this one, we knew we could get this done because this is a pretty big RPG crowd at this convention. So that's why we decided to do it.
It's a crowd of a lot of designers, but a lot of the players that come, the more alpha type players, are like very creative people that are willing to, jump through some hoops for some fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love it. So is there any other things that you as Ninth Level Games, or just you as the O'Neills, like to talk about or do for the holidays? Is there a tradition that you are a part of?
We have so many holiday traditions.
Yeah. Christmas Eve, you got to talk about Christmas Eve.
Our biggest one is my mother's mother decided that she wanted to sample all of the holiday traditions of everyone around the world. So every year she would pick a different place and she would find something. And very early on when I was a kid, one of the things that came was the piñata. And so that became part of my family's tradition, that every Christmas Eve, the family gathers, and inside the piñata, there is a gift for every person there.
Oh, wow.
And we're talking 40 people.
Right. I mean, it is O'Neill, so it's a large family.
Yeah, that's the Ralston side. They're even bigger.
But so, I mean, when I came into the family, it was, about the time that his grandma was like kind of getting like a little bit like, okay, I've been doing this for 20 years. Like maybe we need to like pass the torch. So Chris and I took over making the piñata for the last almost 20 years. And then we just handed it off to his cousin last year. So it's one of these things where we theme it up. We've done like a giant piñata that's 6 feet tall that we let the kids just like bash with a bat. We've had
we bought a 6 foot tall piñata and we filled it full of smaller piñatas.
We've done a snow globe that worked with like a fan in there. We've done
last year they made a piñata that was
us,
Heather and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of you?
Yes, it was effigies of us. Yes, so we've had all kinds of different themes depending on what's going on. Like way back, it was like the Millennium Bug. Or we did like
what everybody remembers.
We did, when the Phillies won the World Series because we're in Philadelphia. We did a big baseball thing for that. We did a Star Wars thing the year that they brought the Star Wars movies back.
Yes,
5 or 8 years ago or whatever. That kind of stuff. So we kind of theme it to what's going on in the world or what's kind of fun.
That's actually really cool. A really cool idea.
So that's been kind of going on for a while, which is really fun.
Okay.
And then we play games Christmas night, typically too. So that's another thing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we Heather married into a game playing family. We were always, party and family games. We grew up playing Pinochle and Tripoli and those kind of like parlor games.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I can absolutely see it, knowing both of you, that would definitely.
Yeah. We might play some cards. Just
yes.
Now, is there
it's happened before?
Right? Is there anything you put on the table food-wise that is like we know turkeys are Thanksgiving. Are you
Yeah.
a ham for Christmas kind of for
You
family?
do ham or turkey.
Or
I
both?
don't think it's a big. I don't think it's always determined.
My dad's mom, when I was a kid, used to serve the most insane,
Over the
like
top.
over the top structured Christmas Eve meal that was always a ham, a turkey, a roast beef, a Yorkshire pudding,
Right,
you
like-
know, creamed onions, Brussels sprouts.
Right.
It's like reading a Game of Thrones meal. Right?
Yes, six pages. You know, all the way down to petit fours with
Right.
you know, fondant creations on top of them,
Right.
and everyone had to dress formally in the whole 9 yards. You know, I mean,
Okay. That's,
Yeah,
but
we were
things are a
always
lot
very
things are a
casual
lot
with
more
my side.
casual these days.
Yeah, we were always pretty casual with my side as well. So yeah.
Yeah, everybody tries to get my dad to make pies. That's a big thing.
I
He makes a
think
damn
that-
good
I'm a
pie.
fan. I'm a fan of pies.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think holiday
Yeah,
pies are the best
Christmas he'll like break out like the lemon meringue or some of the harder ones.
Yeah.
pies. Okay.
Yeah,
I
so it's
can
fun.
do that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for your time and coming on and let me ask you some silly questions and talk about your amazing games and products. And for everybody watching, you can find the O'Neills and their friends and family in Ninth Level Games on almost every social media platform. All right.
Yep.
To include TikTok. They do have a TikTok. I've seen it. And so you can follow them there, but follow them on all their social media platforms so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming amazing games and products that they'll be putting out to the retail market. And it's super awesome to see you all. I miss you very much sitting down. Gamma was so good this year because of the time we got to spend together and just enjoy each other's company. So until we can see each other again, I wish you both a very happy holiday, a happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, all that stuff. And I look forward to when we can hang out and have some eggnog. And just be back in
And a happy, merry, festive Chris Chanukah to you too.